What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Anthony. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I just got back from an afternoon showing of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Wanted to give my quick thoughts on the video in a non-spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie, feel free to watch the whole thing. And I'll make a separate video for people who have seen the movie. We'll dive into spoilers, some of my actual favorite parts, and some of the in the post-credit scene. That post-credit scene is crazy. But let's go ahead and dive into what I thought about the sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog. So just kind of right off the top, the movie actually isn't that bad. I think I might like this one better than the first one personally, and I think a big part of that is, the first movie we spent a lot of time, getting introduced to the characters, and now we got the second movie. There's no need to like rehash some of those things. Now we got these new characters that are coming in, learning a little bit more about their backstory as well as some of the backstory for Sonic too. So I feel like because of that, to me the movie feels a little bit better, and also there's more action. Some of the comedy notes hit pretty good for me, but it's still a kids movie, right? So there's still a lot of corny jokes, like a shit ton of pop culture references. Definitely too much, man. I was like, damn, like every 5 minutes there's some sort of joke, referencing something pop culture related, and some of them actually hit. Some of them, there's some that were kind of surprising. I was like, damn, like they went there with that. Okay. So some actually hit pretty good. But overall, just kind of the total package of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I think is actually like decent. Like it's pretty good, especially for a video game movie. It's actually not bad, bro. Like it's not a bad movie, man. I think probably my biggest gripe with the movie would definitely be pacing. I would say leading into the third act, the pacing kind of fell off a little bit for me, to the point where I started to feel like I was about to nod off a little bit. Like it slowed down quite a bit, and the movie feels a little bit too long. Like I feel like it should be shortened, especially for this kind of movie where it's this like fun like kids movie, a lot of jokes, some action. It feels like for this kind of movie we should have shortened it just a little bit, just to keep that pace kind of fast for the style of movie that it is. I think it definitely benefits from a little bit more of a faster pace, and they slowed it down a little bit too much at going into that third act. They should have kept that pacing pretty good, but yeah, so pacing was an issue for me. Obviously some of the comedy was, and see that's this is obviously everything's subjective, right? So some people might like a lot of the in your face comedy, the slapstick stuff, the little wit remarks and stuff like that. To me, it's a little bit too excessive, especially because they have a decent message in the movie. It's definitely kind of like force fed into you. It's very on the surface of what the message is, but I still think it's a good message, especially for like a family film. I think it's a great message, but because of that factor, I think they should have kind of not like lessen the jokes and stuff a little bit, and kind of let some of those more mature themes still play out. Even though it's a kids movie, you can still have a good balance of those worlds. And I felt like they went a little too heavy into like the kid territory sometimes. Like a lot of like think about like some like Pixar films and stuff like that, where it's definitely a kids movie, but they'll still have like a good balance of the mature themes, without it being kind of like shoved right into your face, where the literal dialogue is telling you exactly what the message is verbatim. You know what I'm saying? If it played out more like that, this movie could have been like great. But I feel like it took away from it because of the excessiveness of the comedy. Not to say that some of it wasn't funny. There's definitely some funny bits, man. Especially like Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, dude, bro. Jim Carrey is hilarious in this movie. Like he's on like he was pretty like zany and eccentric in Sonic the Hedgehog, the first movie. Dude, in this one he like ups it a level, and really like you could tell he's having fun with the role. You could feel it, and it makes you have fun whenever his character's on the screen and he's doing a lot of just stupid, eccentric stuff. It's actually pretty hilarious at times. A couple times it was, kind of corny, a little cringy, but for the most part, most of the movie's performance is honestly hilarious. So a lot of scenes that I cracked up out loud did involve him. Um, but in terms of like production and cast and stuff like that, most of the cast is returning. The same director, Jeff, was it Jeff Fowler? Let me double check just to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, Jeff Fowler. He's returning from the first film to direct this one too. And overall performances were great. The guy that's playing Sonic, what's his name? Is it Ben? Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Is it Ben Schwartz? Let's double check that. Yeah. So Ben Schwartz playing the voice of Sonic. He was great in this movie again too. Now the new character, they added Knuckles to this movie, dude. Idris Elba's Knuckles is dope, bro. It's dope as hell. Like he had the badassness to him, but then also the comedy because of like how his character is. I won't go into spoilers, but his character is very much like, like that warrior's mentality, and so as a result, there's a lot of comedy that plays off of that with him kind of having that one track mind and stuff. Some good comedy that comes from Knuckles, especially towards the end of the movie and whatnot, and how the story goes. But dude, Idris Elba's Knuckles is, bro, it's dope. I actually really like this this iteration of Knuckles, because Knuckles has gone through so many different shapes and forms over the years in terms of like the animated cartoons and stuff like that and the games. But this version of Knuckles, I think, is like perfect. I really like this version of Knuckles, and I think we're actually getting some sort of series with Knuckles. I don't remember what service that's on, but I'm pretty sure we're getting some sort of series with Knuckles in it. And after seeing the movie, it actually excites me a little bit because I really like how they brought Knuckles to life in this movie. Tails was great too. Tails was good, but there was definitely some moments where, I know it's a kids movie, but I'm telling you, man, I feel like you can definitely do a kids movie and still not have like the like stereotypical like delivery of lines and like overstating the obvious and stuff like that. And Tails did that a lot, so I didn't really like some of those aspects of the performance. But overall, I did like the chemistry between Sonic and Tails as they're going on this adventure. Trying to figure out how to handle the the circumstances of this film. But their chemistry was great. The I can't remember the name. Tom, the characters Tom and Maddie in the film, played by James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. They're actually not in the film as much as they were in the first one. It's definitely a story that centers around Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Robotnik, and everyone else kind of like is supporting that. But that's not to say that there weren't still some great bits with them in it, but like the story is definitely focused on the relationship of these groups of people, of the of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Robotnik, and everyone else kind of supporting with that. But still, even said, there's still some good messages about like family and friends and being weird and stuff like that. Some actually decent messages. But yeah, man, I think this movie definitely surprised me because sometimes with sequels they can be hit or miss, right? Like it could be really good, especially because we're introduced to the world, and now we're gonna like dive a little bit deeper into it. And you definitely have the opportunity to really fuck that up, and I feel like they handled it pretty good. Uh, I like the overall plot of the movie. I like why Dr. Robotnik is back. I like what they're going after. I like all those different aspects, and I like the adventure that they go along. It should just been a little bit shorter, and I think it would have been a little bit tighter adventure, and then a little bit less of the kiddiness. Still let it have a little bit of maturity while still being family friendly. I think would have helped as well. But yeah, overall, not a bad movie, man. Make sure you stick around for the post credits because that post credits is wild. Obviously teasing another Sonic film, Sonic 3, and it's pretty hype. Not gonna lie, like the audience that I was with, had audible reactions to the post credit scene. Obviously, there's some Sonic fans in there, but yeah, it's definitely pretty hype. And speaking of like being a fan of the series, they definitely had a lot of like different nuggets. I think that were put there for fans, and even some of the like jokes and stuff reference probably like the mentality of thought from like people who play the game. You know, it's like, oh, like how does Tails fly and things like that. You know, like different comments that relate to what people think about the games and some of the, you know, goofiness of it and things like that. So definitely some good treats for people who are fans. But overall, like especially for being a video game movie, bro, it's not bad, man. I was pretty shocked and pleasantly surprised because I feel like overall I have fun with the movie. That's the main thing, right? It's a fun movie. It's full of decent laughs, some corniness and cringiness, but decent laughs. Some actually decent action at times too. Like the final battle is dope. I like how that plays out. And your first introduction to Knuckles is dope. Seeing how fucking strong he is and stuff like that. Some definitely good like action bits. Some of the same tropes, you know, play out from the first movie with, you know, when Sonic's going super fast or slow mo and kind of some goofiness with the music and the jokes. So some of that same stuff plays out in this movie, but it still works. It's still fun in this movie. And but overall, like action was decent too. Some good other some of the supporting characters were hilarious. Like the actress that played Rachel, Natasha Rothwell, was hilarious. She had some really funny moments in the sequences that involve her getting married. So a lot of fun with those things. You've seen the movie what I'm talking about. Just overall, I thought that whole sequence was pretty funny. Um, but yeah, man, I could recommend. I would recommend Sonic the Hedgehog too. Especially if you have, especially if you're a fan of the series, or you got kids, or you know whatever the case may be, or if especially if you like the first one. That's one thing I can't say definitively. If you like the first movie, I'm quite certain that you'll like the second one as well. But I will definitely recommend Sonic the Hedgehog too. It's a good family fun movie. Got some charm to it. Got some heart to it. Got some good overall messaging. And just sit back and kind of just take it for what it is and just embrace it and have fun with it. Sure, there's gonna be some cringe and corniness. At one point in the movie, someone does the floss dance, and I was like, bro, really? They gotta, that's how these kids movies are. Sometimes they do shit like that, like putting the floss in the movie. It is what it is, but you gotta take that, and then around all that stuff is actually a decent film. But that's what I thought about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What did y'all think about it? If you've seen it, sound off in the comments below of what you think. If is it better than the first one? Is it worse? What were some of your favorite parts? Put all that stuff down in the comments, man. I'd love to have a discussion with y'all. And I'll be doing a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you watch it, make sure you come back and watch that spoiler review because I'll be discussing some of my favorite bits and some of the more hilarious bits in the movie in that video. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching the whole thing. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I drop new videos. Again, thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.